So fall, for most of us, or most of you, I should say, fall is officially here. And so it's time to really look at some fragrances that might be what we call hoodie approved. Those kind of fragrances that definitely, you just want to kind of douse your hoodie in, walk around, smell really great, have a nice scent trail, nice scent bubble. I've got one that I'm going to say, and I'll give you the sneak peek as far as what I think of this. I think this is hoodie approved, but we're talking about Odyssey Home by Armaf. I'll give you the details on the other side. Stick around. All right, what's good, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. My name's Kevin, and you're watching Smell Goods. I appreciate you coming through. Appreciate you hanging out with me for a little bit as we run through, talk through, discuss, and have more conversations about the fragrances that are in my collection as I'm on my fragrance journey, but also hopefully helping you in your fragrance journey, whatever stage that may be, whether it's clone, inspired takes, designer, or niche. We talk about it all on this channel. All right. As mentioned, for most, we're really into fall. It's the first part of October, so fall for most of you is definitely hitting. For me, yeah, I'm still there. I'm still kind of in the 90-degree weather, but I'm gonna force some things. I'm gonna force myself as far as just let's move. Especially once we get down below 90, that's gonna feel so cool, at least to us, that we're gonna break out a lot of these fall and winter fragrances. One of that definitely is one going to be broken out is from Armaf. This is Odyssey Home. Odyssey Home. Now, this black bottle, they have a white one as well, which is the white edition. But this one is what you see. Now, I'm not a fan of this bottle design just because it feels a little cheesy. However, this one, in my opinion, is done better than the limoni, whatever it was, the one that kind of really went after the thermos feel. Now, just a suggestion to Armaf, if you're going to release more, it'd be really cool if this just opened up, if this portion opened up and this was the sprayer instead of having to pull off the cap like that. That's just my thoughts. All right. Show you the atomizer. Decent atomizer, nothing special, nothing major to write home about. In the air, you get the warmth of spices, particularly in this case, it's cardamom. You get that in the air. You get a little sweetness there, but not a whole lot. There is some sweetness that pops through. I really get the spice that is balanced, as it were, with that sweetness. All right. Let's talk about the notes in this because there's some information that's out there that we just need to talk about. All right. Now, for many of you or most of you, if you're looking at notes and you want to kind of see the note breakdown, one of the websites that many of us go to is Fragrantica. I've used it. I'll use it a lot, often enough. Parfum is another one that I use. But when I can, I like to go to the actual brand and see if they list their notes, right? Case in point, in this particular instance, Fragrantica lists notes that don't make sense for what Armaf is saying is in this. Now, there are some things, and there's one note that Fragrantica lists that Armaf does not list, and we're going to talk about that. So Fragrantica lists this, and I'll put it up there. Fragrantica lists vanilla, amber up top, oriental notes, spices, and iris in the middle, and then base notes as far as vanilla, leather, and jasmine. That's what what Fragrantica lists. When we go over to Armaf, though, because they're the manufacturer, they're the ones that created this masterpiece or this fragrance. We're not going to over embellish this fragrance, right? When they list it, they list the top notes as mandarin, neroli, and cardamom. And then the middle notes are rose and orange blossom. And then base notes are sandalwood, vanilla, amber, and woody accords. So big difference when we're talking about what one place is saying versus what the originator is saying. So when I smell this, I do pick up what feels like a little iris in there, right? I get the cardamom, I get kind of I get a little of the citrus, not a whole lot. I think that vanilla really peeks through almost in the top. At least that's kind of what comes off to my nose. But the thing that's interesting is that even though Armaf doesn't list iris, I still pick up what feels like an iris note. Now, not the lipsticky iris of, like, let's say Dior Homme Intense or something of that nature. This is more of it's a fragrance memory, as it were. It's like you get the whiff of it and you're like, that is what it feels like. Now, could it be the rose and the orange blossom and maybe even the neroli kind of combining together to give that kind of feel? It's possible. But for me, think this, as far as what this is even going and doing its take after, this is, in my opinion, this is along the lines of Tom Ford Noir Extreme, which for me is one of the few fragrances from Tom Ford that could make its way into my collection, right? You've heard me talk about Ebony Fume or Fume, whatever it's called. But Tom Ford, the Noir Extreme. In fact, I'll have to go back because there's a couple of those Noir that I'm like, yeah, I could work with those. But the Noir Extreme is one that I could definitely work with and rock. So this is a nice, welcome interpretation, as it were, of that fragrance, because I think it's a really nice one, right? Don't give me Lost Cherry or Cherry Smoke or Bitter Peach. I'm good on those. All right. Now, as far as performance on this, performance, I've worn this a couple of times just in climate control environments, just because I need to test some things, and sometimes I can't necessarily wear it fully out as far as going out in 110-degree weather. But when I'm around the house and we're working from home, this is some things that I'll do as far as kind of spraying and getting a feel for the fragrance. In this case, the fragrance lasts. It does good performance, not beast mode, but you are going to get probably around that 7-8 hour mark, maybe a little longer, but definitely around that 8-hour mark. So average to a little above average as far as its performance. As far as the projection, as far as the bubble and things of that nature around you, it's going to do really well as far as pushing that out probably for the first hour and a half, 2 hours, somewhere in that time frame. After that, that bubble begins to kind of shrink a little. The projection tends to shrink a little, not to where it's a full-on skin scent, but it's not booming out, you know, where it announces your presence, you know, three days before you get there. Doesn't do that. As far as this type of fragrance, when to wear this, for me, I don't mind. I don't think this would be a fragrance that you couldn't wear to the office. This could be an office fragrance. This can be an out and about fragrance. This is an evening fragrance, especially as we're talking the fall and winter. This is a fragrance that works in, you know, a couple of different situations. Now, this is not what, you know, you've been around enough times. This is not what I would call an intentional fragrance. This is a lead up to the intentional fragrance. This is a lead up to, you know, when we gonna get to the good part, get down to the good part, right? Is when we are looking for that. This isn't that type of a fragrance, but it is kind of a lead up to that. So this is maybe first date. This is maybe y'all still kind of figuring each other out, seeing if you know, if this is a thing. This isn't like, listen, it's you and me, right? This isn't that type of fragrance. Now, office, again, because this is not it's not an overwhelming fragrance. It's not a loud, booming, offensive fragrance. It is a fragrance that is going to kind of speak and announce itself, but not in a offensive way, not in a booming way. It's going to be there to kind of speak on your behalf, as it were. All right. That's it. The dry down, definitely get the dry down of the vanilla and the woods that really turn into this nice, creamy, sweet vanilla. The woods pop out a little more as it dries down. The vanilla kind of stays. The vanilla grows a little because it's, like I said, at the beginning, the vanilla is kind of there, but it's not really just an overwhelming thing. But as it begins to go through, and this is not a huge shifting fragrance, but it is one that you will begin to notice a few things as it moves to the dry down phase. But you will notice that vanilla begins to come out a little more. The woods are there, and the sandalwood is a nice creamy sandalwood that's there as well. So yeah, this is a fragrance that if you're looking for something for this fall and for this winter, this is not going to be a bad choice. This is going to be a good choice for you. Odyssey Homme by Armaf is definitely something that fall and winter approved, hoodie weather approved. This is one that you might want to put your hoodie up on the, hang it up. If you're an oversprayer like me, hang it up on your door. Splacka, 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 spray, spray, spray. Make sure that you cover all facets of that hoodie, because it's one of those fragrances that just feels at home in a nice hoodie as you're moving through the cooler weather. All right. That's it. That's all I've got to talk to you about as far as this fragrance. I think I've given you information that's going to be helpful for you. And I've got another video coming up that'll also be helpful for you in your fragrance journey. But do me the favor, of course, stay safe, stay sane, stay smelling good. And then, of course, hit that like, hit that subscribe, request notification, share, and then catch the next video. See you next time. Be blessed. Peace.